Alright, small little video about child raising. Um, Personal opinion, not that I have all the answers, but I had a talk with my caseworker about treating my 3-year-old, a year or two ahead of schedule. And I'm thinking of it as like, when you're raising a kid, does your kid, if he's 16 or if she's 16, but acts like a 15-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, you know, because of this reason or that reason, upbringing or mental issues or mental delays with like dyslexia and ADD, which makes it hard to focus and understand sometimes. I mean, kind of just like understanding their understanding and ability to grasp what you're trying to explain. And if they are able to understand it, um, you'll know. I think it goes along with everything. If a guy knows if a girl is just playing games, or if a guy is just playing games, or if a kid is just playing games, or a parent is just playing games. I think we all know when somebody's just playing. Um, so when it comes down to kids, I mean, that's why I've always broken it up to like from like freshly born to around 5 is the first level of teaching them, guiding them, protecting them. Once they hit about 5 years old at 10, I think that's a good time to start working with understanding, grasping, compassion, sympathy. I think you can start with a lot of that younger, depending on where they apply. But it's the same thing with like from 10 to 15. That's when I'm gonna like you gotta have opinions and thoughts. And they can have it to a sense of about a scenario because I want to be able to have a conversation with my kid. I want my kids to choose words over violence, but don't think twice that my kids can't bring violence. They just prefer peace. They prefer communication. They prefer talking shit out. Because if it does come to fist over words, you will regret it. Whether they win or lose, you will regret it. Um, but when it comes down to raising, because once they hit like a 10 to 15, when that's like the third marker, once they hit 15, the next 3 years are pretty much getting them ready um, to start focusing on the next years. It's getting them ready for the world on their own. It's getting them ready for when they leave the nest. It's to be able to interact with other people and read social cues and understand people's jokes and when somebody's serious or when somebody's had a bad day. It's the same thing that the groups teach you about picking up, and it's also the same thing I say about, drug addicts, in a matter of speaking. When a guy, steals something from you and you're mad about him stealing something from you, but yet he was a friend of yours and you didn't notice that he was going through something. I mean, that's bad on you too. It's bad on him for stealing, but it's bad on you enough for noticing and paying attention and asking and pushing. I'm sorry, push your friends. I'm sorry, like you might need to push them, man or woman, or depending on the person, you might need to push them differently, but you need to push and pay attention to your surroundings, which includes your friends. Also, what's in front of you, your friends, when you're hanging out with them. Um, they also do shape, because when you like send your kids out in the real world, I believe that the parents are the principal and the vice principal. Um, they're the ones running the school. It's the same thing with when if I leave to go to work, the vice principal, my woman, takes up my job as principal and rules the house. But they know when the principal comes back to school after vacation or days off or sick, whatever, and he finds out this is happening on, you can probably still get pulled into the office, you know. But everybody else on the world, when it comes to other family members, friends they make, enemies they make, acquaintances they make, instances that come to arise in their path. things that get thrown their way, things they have to deal with, things they have to go through. Those are all like teachers and lessons and after our curriculum, going to club, are all things that can shape, your kid, and it is a teacher to your kids. Your job is to not really. I don't really think your job is really to teach them per se, but more guide. You guide them through life. You don't teach them about life. You guide them through life, and through your guidance and their experiences and all that, they come to learn about life, and they come to learn about opinions and what to stand up for, what they believe to stand up for. Yes, I'm hoping a lot of my beliefs get passed over to my kids, but I'm not going to instill my beliefs onto my kids. I'm very out there. I don't think I'm going to have to. Um, but I am. I mean, but I'm going to walk my path proudly. And if my kid decides to pick up, the hammer or the cross, my woman wears a cross. She has a very collective, Wiccan Christian belief. With I have a very Satanism and pagan and Celtic and Druid and Christianity. But I also, I practice and research all religions, and I've come to find. I'm, I also consider history a religion. Um, but it's actually one of the greatest religions out there because it gives you aspects of all cultures and beliefs. And then it's like the Dexter's the, sec- the oh man, I can't even say that word. But dictionary. Um, there was another word I was trying to think of, but I just couldn't. But dictionary, pretty much of all religions. That's what history I think is. Um, but it's raising your kids to. I mean, there are. I mean, I think when it comes to religion and beliefs and what to pass on to your kid, I do think the basic balance of common good and bad. Um, you try to teach your kids, don't lie, be upfront, be truthful, treat others as you want to be treated. Respect others' path as long as it doesn't disrespect you. Um, yeah, I mean, you just raise your kids, and going back to, I do think there is a little bit of truth in that movie, Baby Geniuses. I know all parents believe their kids are up there, but I do believe that some kids, are more, ahead. But it doesn't mean they're gonna stay that way. I mean, you could have a really smart, 1-year-old right now, and when they hit 3, they kind of lose that baby genius kind of aspects. But some actually, m- evolve in it and multiply and grow that brain. Some just level out and become, whatever. But it doesn't mean, you think any highly. My mom gave me some great advice because I have ADD, ADHD. I had 14 kinds of dyslexia, but I feel like I've kind of overcome dyslexia in a manner of speaking. Tourette's, that I think is, I've been told that what can change into extreme anxiety. And I believe that. But I mean, like, I do believe, my mom said that, just because I have the disabilities, it might take me a minute longer to accomplish something, but it doesn't mean I can't accomplish it. Um, this might take me, might take them an hour, might take me two, and that's fine. I didn't give up. I completed it, and I did it right, and I learned. And honestly, um, I've grown my vocabulary and my reading's gotten better. My understanding, comprehending of words and social skills, because I couldn't talk to a chick back when I was younger. My social understanding has gotten better, and compassion and right and wrong kind of goes in a very interesting circle because I do believe that there's really no form of right and wrong. There's a foundation of a moral compass of a big picture surrounding group that can label something right and wrong. And it kind of depends on where you want to land with the moral compass of the group instead of yourself. I do think you can think of something's wrong and somebody else can think it's right. I mean, I'm very anarchist in a matter of speaking. I do believe the whole like you can do whatever you want. It's okay. You want to be respectful and respect me and not break into my house or do this or do that. I'll respect you to not fucking punch you. Or beat your ass or bury you in the backyard. Um, Depending on what you do. But this video just I don't know. I had a just thought about especially with the system trying to. I mean, understand you're a kid. I know I watched a video with Candace Owens about you just know your kid. I mean, women typically are better with the compassion, nurturing stuff, and picking up if your kid is really hurt. But guys have it too if you're playing games or if you just want attention or if you're feeling sick. Same with women. We know when you're playing it, when you're just trying to, not listen, when you're trying to seek attention. So it's really easy to know what your kid's feeling if you actually pay attention. Because they talk, they just don't talk with their words right now, per se. And that's one of the things you gotta teach them, how to communicate. And that's one of the things that really you do teach them. So I'm not saying there's not things you don't teach. I think you just mainly you guide them, especially when they get older. Right now, you're teaching them the basic tools to understand and comprehend, and what opinions are and all that. And then when they get older than that, then they can start experiencing them and having them build their own personality and character. And then when you get older, that's when you have more of a deeper conversation. The birds and the bees. Just because you're angry, and just because somebody fucked you over, doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. You gotta think about it because your actions do have consequences, and some consequences can follow you for years, even decades, honestly. And I mean, choices that you make now can hold you back, in growth. But I think I'll just end it there. Just wanted to come in here and make a few little notes on my view on parenting and life, and one of the things that it has to do with like I like the future, future trip, matter of speaking. I like to think ahead. And some people think it's a problem, but I think it is a problem if that's where you live. But I don't really think it's a problem where you can have, because I've broken down every scenario that I could think of, especially with having 4 daughters and now I have my first son. I mean, the thoughts of, my kids doing drugs. I mean, I used to do drugs, how I'm going to handle that. If my kid at 14, 16, gets pregnant, how am I going to handle that? How am I going to, it goes back to, parenting. I mean, how you parent, besides helping them guide through life, it's also going to give them a lens on how to interpret things, and what they're going to mean. What kind of guy or chick they're going to get into and who they're going to want to be, and how what they're going to expect from their man or what they're going to expect for their woman. And hoping that, the people that, gave birth to this boy or girl raised them right. Hopefully the same way or close to the same way. I think that's one thing that families need to come back and talk with each other again, be close and build. I mean, I think once like my daughters or my son find a person to be with, whether they get married or not, I don't really care about that. I mean, I think as long as they walk the walk and talk the talk in marriage, that's good enough for me. They're married. They could buy a ring, call it good. I mean, wedding is whatever, especially nowadays. But if they want it, I mean, I'm not against it. But I think once your kids come together, I think all parents need to come together and definitely set some ground rules, whatnot. I mean, my daughter married your son, or my son married your daughter. This is our belief. This is what we've taught them. This is how we raised them. And yes, bring your kids involved in this because you guys are now making a foundation for the family. And it's not just you and your kid, but it's you your kid and another group, another couple's kid, and now you guys are one family, two families that became one, and you're supposed to build a foundation on that and build rules and goals and morals and how to grow this family to a high level and work together. You guys are also be in each other's lives, but know when to step back, when to give your kids space, when to give the other couple space, when to actually call them, you know. But I don't really think if they're going through something, I don't really think there's really if you're going through something and I'm picking up on something, I'm gonna push you on it, and I want you as the parents of the person that's with my kid to come to me when you guys are dealing with something. I want my kid, if he needs to talk, if my daughter needs to talk to you because she thinks you might have a better, or wants to come talk to me so she doesn't want to disrespect me, but then wants to go get a second opinion from her father-in-law, I'm not going to feel a certain way. Go get it. Two heads are better than one. Maybe he gives you some. I mean, you're a different person now. I mean, yes, what the courts say do say like things change. And the girl that I raised at 16, that's now 24, might not see things my way, and that's fine. That doesn't mean I did anything wrong. That just means she just sees something differently. Or maybe the same thing with a friend of ours said. Maybe the father-in-law says it in a certain way that just clicks better. Maybe he says the exact same thing I did, just differently. Or gives her a different idea because he's also been through stuff. He's also had his own personal experiences of life and all that. You know, maybe he's older as well. I mean, because I'm 37, so I got 13 years until I'm 50. Who knows? I got daughters. So I'm hoping my daughters' boyfriends are older than them, which means their father might be older than me. Maybe he could teach me a few things, and and we could become close. So. These are the kind of stuff that I think about, and knowing that he's also might be older means he also came from a different time period. I mean, I was born in 1986, so if he's 5, 10, 15 years older than me, that means he's got five. He was at least 5, 10, 15 years older than me before I was even born. So during my time as I got born in the 80s, he was living life. And just because he doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Don't take it personally. You know, be there for your kid when you can, and when you can't, don't take it personally. Um, but yeah, this is just my little insight on my belief on parenting and how to raise. And like I said, I'm not saying my way is the right way. I definitely want to get into this kind of work. Um, but I think the CPS and how all these family organizations that are trying to help build first relationships with parents, I just feel like they're going out the wrong way. Not all of them. I've dealt with I think 5 total of parenting groups, whatnot. And I think there's like 2 that I like, but they work like I do. They just not really. They're not really They're not really in the job to like change it. They're in the job just to get a paycheck. I think it's not in their. It's nothing personal. I don't think. I just think it's not. It's not their calling. Their calling was enough to get into the work, to hopefully have a good shoulder in there, but their calling wasn't to be in that career to change it, to rock the boat, as most people like to say. They were just there to have a good person in that group that actually cares and hears people out. And she's good at the work. I mean, I just think that she should push to change it because I think she wants to change it. And she don't think it's her calling. But it's nice to have a refreshing fresh air that actually cares and understands and listens to the group. Um, I guess that's a stepping stone for now. Gives me hope that that they're not all the way that most of them are. So it gives me hope. Um, But yeah, this is my theories on parenting and how to parent with the ages. And I mean, honestly, yes, the genders are going to be, how I got to raise my boy is not going to be how I raise my girls. My girls are going to get a little more softer gloves. They are going to be getting a lot more talking with. I'm not believe in abuse. I mean, I believe there's a fine line between tough love and child abuse, and knowing it. I mean, I do believe that healthy discipline and physical spanking and all that is healthy as long as it's done healthy. Um, it, and I do think, I mean, it's for adults to, I mean, call ourselves like when we get angry with our kid, it's okay to get angry at your kid for something they did, and want to smack them. But it's the fine line between wanting to and doing it. I mean, I'm sure I did things to my parents that they just wanted. I mean, well, actually, I'm not gonna lie. I did. I was mouthy when I was younger, and my mom smacked me right in the head with an ice cream scoop. Like a solid metal one. Right in the forehead. And I knocked my ass. But I mean, my mom was also a very strong, independent woman in a manner of speaking. Um, I mean, my mom wasn't perfect. My dad and my mom had issues and all that, but my dad wasn't perfect either. I mean, but they were good. Um, I mean, I was never molested. I mean, I was never brought around things that I just shouldn't have. They were a little bit more, they were very, religious Christian based, but not Bible thumping, judgmental, closed minded kind of aspects. I mean, they believed in this, they believed in that. I mean, by all technicality, by religious beliefs, they probably are not in heaven, but I believe they are. Um, but yeah, you know, I don't have any. I haven't talked to my five siblings in 15 years, so my kids don't have family, blood family on my side to socialize with. Um, in 15 years, I think, yeah, 22 then when she passed. But yeah, I think I'll just end it there because I'm drawing a blank. But that's pretty much my outlook on parenting and life and what to expect. It's good to expect, prepare for the worst, expect the okay, and wish for the good aspects. I guess life is not life without the good and bad and everything in between. Um, but yeah, this is just pretty much my aspects on, I guess, relationships and aspects with kids and how to deal with kids and how to raise them and my aspects, my belief from having, I mean, five kids now. Um, two of them with the mom, three of them are with me. Um, I'm also with the girl of my other three kids. I'm with her. My ex before has two kids. She has her son from her previous relationship, and her girlfriend has a son from, I don't know if it was a stork kid or a rape baby. I don't know. Like she can keep on changing her answers on how she conceived her son, but she's got that, two boys and two girls there. I've got my three here. She's got my other two up there. They're not fit to be parents. I'm sorry. I I just think with I think if there's any truth, one, we have to get all the nitty gritty between men and women out in the open and settled. So then we can actually focus on the things we need to fix, like moms not being the greatest, homes, single mother homes are not the greatest for kids. I'm sorry that fathers, homes are better and have a more average out statistic as two parent homes do. But fathers don't want to be single parents. All right. Between the course and you, we get the kids ripped from us and then forced to pay child support, don't really get a say, don't get a say. I don't know why fathers are looked at as second-class citizens when it comes to parenting their kids, especially when there's DNA testing and the father hasn't done anything to warrant my. Like, I can understand being put through the stuff that I've been put through if I was abusive, if I was dangerous around my kids, or this or that, but I wasn't. So why are you treating me like I am? I mean, but I personally let go of everything that went on in the past when we were on drugs and dealing with my ex and her girlfriend. I mean, I've let it all go personally and moved on. But it's kind of hard to move on fully when you talk to the other person. They're very condescending, gaslighting, manipulative, and just have that high horse, I'm perfect facade about them. Um, they want to be very childish. I mean, they are childish. I mean, her girlfriend's 27, I think. But, yeah, I think I'll just end it there. I'm going on a rant about my life again, but it's from all my personal experience. Um, but I think when it comes down to like the issues between the sexes and the family and the nuclear family dynamics about what we all want, what we want life to be, this and all that, how we want to raise our kids, how we think they should be raised, men's role and women's role. I mean, once we can figure out what the hell we think, then we can focus on how to make that foundation better, more secure, and building a home on top of that for being men and women and what our roles are and what we're okay with and how we want to be talked to and how we want things to go in the home. Once we can figure out what we want, then we can figure out how we're going to do that in different aspects, I think. Um, but yeah, just another almost 30-minute fucking ramble of, my views on life and parenting and choices and, regret and how to parent and my outlook on how to look on kids and how I look at certain things.